So here we are once again with Phoenix. I mean, it's slow progress this book because it's a big old one, but it's so worth getting through, and we will get through it. It might not be towards the end of year 6, but I'm actually loving it, so I don't mind. I bet some of you, Harry, have probably finished it already, and that doesn't matter. But for those of you who are doing it week by week, I'm getting a lot of enjoyment from it. So Lucky has just been training how to use the astrolabe by the professor, who has joined them on the ship. He's one of the Star Talkers as well. So let's see how he's getting on. Let's just get back into it. Lucky practiced hard as they flew on, chapter 19 by the way, towards the spacewall, under the watchful eyes of Professor Byzantine and Bazooka. He spent every spare minute with the astrolabe, learning how to control it, plotting routes through space, until he began to see stars and the connections between them, even when his eyes were closed. As his understanding expanded, he found himself able to stay in the astrolabe for longer and longer periods. He grew more accustomed to being in the astral body, dancing among the stars. He often thought he could hear them singing to him, songs that lifted his spirits with words of encouragement, even as he caught snatches of other songs, those strange sad songs whose meanings he could not fathom. Yet whenever he asked the astrolabe about his father, it always gave him the same response, flinging him off the edge and out of the map. Always he would lose control and come crashing back into his clumsy gravity-bound body again. It was always painful. Even more painful were the occasions when his power rose up inside him, and these now happened every day. The professor tended it relentlessly. He would goad and provoke Lucky until he panicked, and then inevitably the power would rise. His hands would start to shine, flames would spill out of him. It would take all his strength to pull it back inside him, and then he would feel utterly spent, exhausted, and in terrible pain. The professor never let him stop though. This is precisely the same as navigation, he'd say. You're learning self-control, the key to both the astrolabe and your own power. Focus on what matters to you. It will give you something to hold on to, something to balance the fear. Stay calm and in control, and everything else will follow. The only thing that helped at such times was thinking of Bixer. Bixer of all people. Lucky didn't know what to make of this fact, but it seemed to work, so he did his best to keep doing it, to keep practicing and building his control over the power, though it felt like it was growing stronger every time he used it, and harder to contain. He dreaded the test that lay ahead at the spacewall. He was so unprepared for it. He wondered if he'd ever be ready to face shadow guards. Despite the professor's teaching, he felt nothing but overwhelming terror every time he thought of them. And the ordeal was coming up all too fast. The sunfire soared through the systems, out of Leo, through Virgo, and on towards Libra, the turning point of the galaxy, the place where the human worlds ended and the Axa space began, where the Star Talkers hoped to find the 12 Astraeus, and where Lucky longed to find his father. And all the while, the spacewall came closer and closer, growing bigger and bigger on their vid screens, until the wall of green fire filled their view completely, blotting out everything else, even the stars. As they came in close to it, Captain Knox called a meeting in the main cabin to prepare for the challenge ahead. Through the vid screens, crackling static, they saw a gigantic space station at the centre of the wall. It was sharp-edged and solid, like some impossibly massive door in space, so vast that Lucky's mind reeled from the massive scale of it. That is what we call the Space Gate, announced the captain, jabbing a finger at the flickering image on the screen. It's the only way through the wall. Patrolling alongside the Space Gate were government craft, shadow ships and battleships, guarding the frontiers of human space. Lucky could also see fragments of debris hanging in orbit around the wall, fractured wings, broken hulls, floating powerless and adrift. What are those? He asked. If you try to cross the wall without clearance, said the captain, they destroy you. Many have tried and none survived. Those bits of wreckage, they leave them there to discourage others. They looked at the ruins in silence. Even Bixer had nothing to say. So, how are we going to get through it? Said Lucky. The captain turned to Mystica and the professor, his horns held proudly high. I've been thinking about what you said, he told them, and perhaps I owe you an apology. Perhaps I have grown too cautious. So I've taken the liberty of devising a plan to get us through the wall. Leave the talking to me. If it works, we shouldn't even have to leave the ship. Mystica's eyes glowed. My dear, she said, I knew we could count on you. The captain turned back to Lucky. There's one problem. The government aren't letting human civilians across the spacewall anymore. It's totally off limits to you. Only AXA who are returning to their home worlds are allowed over. So your disguise is more important than ever now. If you make one mistake, if they even suspect for a moment that you might be human, they'll never let you through. And if they catch us helping a human impersonate an AXA... Yeah, gulped Lucky. I can imagine. I don't think you can, said Nox. However scared you were of the Shadow Gods before, that was nothing. We're going into the place where they are strongest. We will do everything we can to protect you. But if they do catch you, well, we're just one small starship and they're the biggest force in the galaxy. So I must ask you, are you absolutely certain you want to come with us? Lucky stared at the vivid green sky. My father's out there, he said, a prisoner. He nodded more to convince himself than anything. Of course I want to come. Then by the power vested in me as this ship's captain, I am giving you an ident to go with your disguise. It shows that you're part of our crew, an apprentice navigator. Keep it with you at all times, and don't mess this up. He spoke gruffly, but as he handed the ident over, Lucky felt overwhelmed with gratitude. He'd never had an ident of his own before, and the captain was taking a huge risk giving it to him. Thank you, Captain, he said. Nox stood up awkwardly. He went in silence to the cockpit, taking Frolics with him. Now, that's the Ozymandias Nox I knew, whispered Professor Byzantine. You see, said Mystica, I told you he still had it in him. Lucky watched the flickering vid screens as they approached the space wall. The green fire rippled with awesome power, and then the wall pulsed with a burst of light so painfully bright, Lucky not only saw it, he felt it searing his retina with scorching heat. Mystica screamed. Her face crumpled and she fell to the floor, hugging herself as if wounded. So did Professor Byzantine. They both writhed in agony as Lucky stood there, helplessly shielding his eyes, until the light faded. Was that the space wall? Gasped Mystica as Bixa rushed to her side. The Professor's face filled with shock. It cannot be. The space wall should be a solid wall of energy. Something must be happening on the other side. He crawled up from the floor and with Bix's assistance helped Mystica to stand again. Yes, he said, I'm certain of it. It comes from the other side. Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Mystica swayed on her hooves, unsteady for golden eyes, cloudy with confusion. Is this the work of the wolf? She whispered. Come, Mystica, the Professor said gently. Let me take you to your quarters. You need a rest. The two Star Talkers hobbled away, sticks clacking on the ground as Bazooka! The Phoenix flapped anxiously above their heads. The cabin felt empty and quiet without them. Lucky looked over at Bixa. She'd been unusually quiet for a while, he realised. Are you okay? He asked. Me? I'm fine. Course I am. Why wouldn't I be? Well, Mystica and the Professor, they both felt something, and they're both Star Talkers. Didn't you feel it too? I'm not a Star Talker, she muttered. I don't think I am either, he mused. I didn't feel anything or hear anything. Good for you. Only an idiot would want to be a Star Talker. Lucky peered at Bixa. The way they talk about it, it sounds amazing. Yeah? Her needles flashed dangerous colours. Well, your weirdo power sounds amazing to me. Having the power to touch anyone you like, I'd give anything for that. But I don't see you getting so excited about it. That's different, persisted Lucky. That's something that could destroy me. And being a Star Talker could destroy me. I couldn't fight anyone if I was a Star Talker, could I? I could never defend myself because I'd always have to see things from all sides. I'd be like Mystica, and look what it's like for her. I don't want that. I've never wanted it. They flew on towards the space gate. No more pulses of light came from the wall. It was a solid barrier of green fire again. A barrier powerful enough to destroy any ship, smash any shields. The two of them looked out in silence as it overwhelmed the Sunflower's vid screens, engulfing them on all sides. Well, there's something that might destroy us both, Lucky said quietly. Yup, said Bixer, needles blanching pale as snow, shrinking back into her hair. What's it really like going through that thing? He gulped, hoping she'd make a joke and make everything okay again. Bixer scowled at the space wall. Her needles were almost totally hidden now. I don't remember, she said. I was very young when we came through. How do they power it anyway, said Lucky. Where does the energy come from? How should I know? She snapped. Where do all your stupid questions come from? It's probably the same place. He stopped asking questions. Her words told him only one thing, and it was something he wished he didn't know. Bixer was as scared as he was. She might have outwitted a Shadow Guard on Leo 5, but these were still the people responsible for the death of her parents. The prospect of facing them again filled her with just as much fear as it filled him. And though their terror was the same, neither of them could do a thing to comfort the other in the face of it. No reassurance there then, and already Lucky could feel the ship decelerating. The easy fluid motion of the Sunfire as she sailed through open space was gone. Ahead of them, the space gate loomed enormous, and now Lucky saw that its surface was hatched with numerous portals, through which countless spacecraft were coming and going. The comm crackled into life. Exocraft Sunfire requesting clearance to dock at the space gate, came Captain Knox's voice. Clearance assigned, came the reply. You will land in docking bay Z. Z? Grunted Bixer. Zero priority? We're going to be stuck in this place a while. One of the portals opened before them. The Sunflyer edged through it into a vast steel hangar. The portal slid smoothly shut behind them as they touched down. Space was gone. The stars were gone. They'd landed. I'm going to wrap up quickly because we're nearly up to 13 minutes. But, interesting. I'm very anxious about this situation. Very anxious. The fact that Bixer is scared scares me. Right, chapter 20 coming right up.